about to say. Welcome to episode 13 of Fizzy Brain. My name is Aubrey Blakeledge. I am your host on Fiddy Brain? Yeah, Fiddy Brain. Welcome to Fiddy Brain. It is a stream, podcast, vlog, vanity project where I use this as a way of controlling my weird brain by telling you guys what I do on the road and off the road and when I'm trying to work and practice for being on the road. So basically it's the tale of creativity from a weird point of view and just basically giving you an insight to how I work creatively by breaking my show into two parts. Part one, I explain what I'm meant to be working on and what I'm meant to be working on creatively, from projects ranging from working in plays and acting, visual recording, animation, music, comedy, all that sort of stuff. And in part two is the weird stuff that I end up getting up to, which has nothing at all to do with what I'm meant to be working on that pushes my career forward. I use the word career, even though I use these quotation marks of career, even though I am a self-employed musician, and this is my main form of income. The British music industry, in fact the British creative industry, is so bollocks that it's basically a silly idea to become a self-employed musician, but here I am doing those things. So, what am I meant to be working on? Let's do part one. But actually, before we do part one, let's do a bit of the regular sort of, I call housekeeping. So, gigs coming up. I'll mention more of these later on, so don't worry, there will be a fact sheet at the end of the programme. So tickets for shows that have tickets are available from ticketsource.co.uk/awkward which is easy enough to find, or find on my various socials and web pages and such. I keep on meaning to make a web page. I am very lazy. Well, I'm not lazy. One of this programme has actually help show that I'm not lazy. I just have so many things on at once that I don't have the time to make a fucking website, and I should make a fucking website because it's one of those things that one should have. But anyway, speaking of things that I'm working on, tomorrow is another one of my weird Aubrey quizzes at the Dell in Southampton, which was last week was a massive success. We had 5 actual teams, not 5 people, 5 teams. So it seems to be building up there, which is great. So that is starting at 7 o'clock. It's a pub quiz that I host. Imagine how stupid that is. At least I don't write the questions, because then it would be far too tangential. Anyway, so then to the music, which is what you guys are here for. The 27th of February, I'm off to Swindon to the Tuppenny with the marvellous B-SYDES. Then the 28th, I am in NEWSTEAD at the Pit with B-SYDES and Sam Tucker. And again, and I've been putting up on social media, that Madam Misfit won't be joining us because she is recovering from a series of illnesses that have knocked her for not just 6 but for 12. Then I'm off to London on the 1st of March to Two Bridges near London Bridge with Thomas Benjamin Wilde Esquire to make some weird music for the people of London. So then after that, the other main thing I'll be working on at the moment for my acting stuff is the performance on Wednesday the 19th of March at the MAST Theatre in Southampton, as I take part in the production of Call Me Mother, which is a sort of queer alternative theatre thing that I'm doing, because of course that's the sort of thing I'm going to be doing. And of course, coming up in April, the 3rd of April, there's other things going on at the moment, but I don't want to overdose you all with listings and such, but the 3rd of April is the Awkward Strawberry Club episode 4, with Fragile Lucy as our headliner and various other bits and pieces to be announced before then. So that's the housekeeping. On to the show itself. Part 1. What am I meant to be working on? I'm being messaged in the chat, by the way. I will get to your bits and pieces, but I just want to sort of get into the meat of the show before I start talking to the chat, because I'm not very good at doing multiple things at once. I am crap at multitasking. So, what am I meant to be working on? Part 1. So, I'm rehearsing, like I mentioned before, and I just did with the listings, there is a new tour about to start. This weekend, in fact, I have just bought the train tickets and all that sort of rubbish, rendezvousing Mr. Benjamin Sides, and planning how the flying fuck I'm going to get around the south coast without a car. It's by trains and bumming lifts. That's how I'm doing it. And so part of that is also rehearsing the new tracks. I did the more about the shows a little bit later in the programme, but I've been playing new songs from my solo stuff that's going to be turned into the new album and such. I've been rehearsing a few of those, trying some ideas out, and playing them at some of the house shows and bits and pieces, and at an emergency gig that I played. More about that in a minute. That's coming along nicely. And if you wait in the break, there may be a musical interlude of a new song for you guys to hear. Premieres and such. And yeah, like I said, preparing for the new tour to start. So it's basically been buying train tickets, organising where I'm going to be sleeping, whose sofas I'm going to be ruining, and getting a coach back from London. But you know, that's one of those things. Like I said, I managed to get an emergency gig with Gaz Brookfield, which arrived for me at just the perfect moment when I was going through some absolutely rubbish stuff, which again I'll mention more about later on. But it was one of those things of like, it allowed me to sort of, with no pressure, not that I'm not going to put any effort into a support slot, but having someone just basically go, do you want to come and do a show tonight at 6:30 at night, when they needed me for 7:30, and I was an hour and a half away, and I was basically having dinner with friends in the New Forest, and I then had to get a lift from Southampton, from the New Forest back to Southampton, to grab my stuff, to get a lift with Lily, the lady riding her instructor, her indoors, back off to Hambledon, which is apparently, well actually not, isn't apparently, is the home of cricket. That's where cricket was first played, into Hambledon Village Hall to play an emergency gig supporting Gaz Brookfield, which was a lot of fun, and was quite funny because we seemed to be irritating the living daylights out of the local Village Hall committee. The audience were absolutely wonderful, but were being forced to sit in rows of these strange chairs that you would have in a Village Hall, because before I arrived, apparently Gaz had been mithered by the locals to put chairs out, and not just a couple of chairs down the side, which is what we normally do for the people who want to sit down, but for everyone to sit down and enjoy the music. Despite the fact Gaz said, this isn't my first rodeo, this isn't even my first time playing in a Village Hall. I know what I'm doing, I know my audience, and so I've got chairs down the side, and also an area where people want to stand and dance and frolic and enjoy the gig. And what these Village Hall guys did is, when Gaz, so they were not happy with Gaz's answer, so when Gaz and I went up on stage to basically line check me, and before I went on, when we turned our backs and looked out, all the chairs had been put out, so they literally waited for Gaz to go onto the stage to come out and run out and put as many chairs out as possible. That's what he was dealing with. And of course I was a little worried at first that, as much as I've been friends with Gaz for years, I've never really done many support slots for him. Sweet Chunks played at the Cheese and Grain in Frome and such like places like that, but I realise how much of a complete handful I am, especially with my brain, and also my way of just being a complete arse and swearing like a fucking trooper that's been privately educated. Excellent vocabulary, terrible, was it good delivery, awful vocabulary, I think it was once described. And so I thought, would he want me to calm down, tone it down a bit? It's a Village Hall, it's his stuff, it's more serious, and obviously not be unfunny and play things in a really moody way, but does he want me to tone it down? But he was literally like, no, I want you to go full bore on this. These guys have pissed me off, so if you could annoy them even more, that'd be great. The audience will love it. The Village Hall, we started referring to him as the Village Hall Preservation Society, would fucking hate it and hopefully leave. So when it was his set, they would just have his audience and not have the tutting nanas at the back complaining about where the chairs were. I don't think that audience, the ones that obviously knew who I was, were prepared. The rest of the audience had no fucking clue what was about to hit them. So when this came out and just started singing at them and shouting and occurring all kinds of weird things, it was a lot of fun. And for me, and I'll explain a little bit why later on, it was a really nice blowing out of the cobwebs and a bit of a refresher before going back to the show the next day, which was a house show, which was also really, really good fun. Yeah, I just noticed in the chat, Wessex girl Claire, who I actually strangely was the host of the house show that I played the following day, who came along and gave me a lift back, just sent a message saying it was weird leaving to go get dinner and then walking back into the hall and seeing all of the chairs. Yeah, it was even weirder when we turned our backs to do the line check, turned back, and there were all the fucking chairs. It was like some kind of cursed Village Hall. We just, actually funny enough, last night Lily and I watched 1408, the Stephen King horror thing with John Cusack about an evil hotel room that tries to kill people who go in it. I kind of got vibes of that. Yeah, I think the Village Hall was trying to kill us, or it was a poltergeist, yeah. So anyway, after the show, which was really, really lovely, audience were great, had a great little time, caught up with a few people I hadn't seen for a while. It was a nice sort of little palate cleanser before festival season really kicked off. So went into the house show the following day, and as always, those are always delightfully mad little things where you have a small group of people that at first, when they're not unsure of the fact that they realise, oh, there's a musician, there's no barriers between us, and then they realise remember it's me, and they go, oh God, there's no barrier between us, and people have that sort of, what are they going to do now? And then when they relax and realise that I'm not going to eat their face meat, or wear them like a lamp, then they can just get in and enjoy the show. And so that again was really, really nice, and got to sort of, they're great. I'm glad people keep the house gigs have sort of resonated with people, because they're really good fun, and also they keep me alive during the shit, like the winter months, but also it's a great way of sort of connecting with the audience a bit more, and such like that, which is really good fun. So yeah, that was a lovely little show. And also I mentioned last week there was a story that I wanted to tell, not say story, but I wanted to talk to you about, because I've been rehearsing for the Call Me Mother play, and we had a guest speaker come in to talk about fashion. I didn't expect to give a flying fuck about alternative fashion. I've never given a shit about fashion before, and now I've actually sort of gotten quite addicted to sort of looking at the way that people come up with ideas for fashion and recycled fashion, and my new sewing machine has been going off on one. I'll show you some of the sewing I've been getting up to as well, and you'll quite enjoy some of the weird shit that I've been doing. But repurposing things and recreating things and fiddling around with things has been really good fun. So there's been a lot of the rehearsing with that, and one of the things I was able to do whilst rehearsing is the guys there are very much like aware of themselves, and aware, like, as in with well-being, and very attuned into that sort of thing. And so when we were rehearsing, I had this strange moment where, when dealing with some of the, like I mentioned in last week's programme, that in the part-time job that I do as a carer, we'd lost several of our residents, and it had started to affect me. While I was rehearsing, I was able to sort of this strange moment where I managed to split my headspace in two. And it was very odd, because it was a healthy sort of thing. It felt like a really interesting way to process things. But it was an odd thing, and I've never experienced it before. Maybe you guys have. If this sounds familiar, let me know. Where basically I was aware that I was dealing with a form of grief, and this was rumbling along in the bottom, and I was acknowledging that and understanding this. But the space that I was in was a very constructive and a creative space that I knew that I was preparing to sort of open myself up and work in this space in a really creative, positive place that I wanted to be. And so I had these two parallels complementing each other. They weren't sort of against each other, complementing each other, where I had this sort of understanding that my mood was lower because of the grief and dealing with the death and all that sort of stuff, but then on top of it, still allowing myself to function and move around. And it wasn't a numbing, it wasn't a denial of feeling like shit in a way. It was sort of allowing the two to exist in the same space, and then but letting myself enjoy the creative space, and then acknowledging the grief, and then going back to it at another time, rather than ignoring it. It was always there constructively. Very odd. I don't know if anyone's ever experienced anything like that, or even if I've explained it very well. I probably haven't explained it well at all, but yeah, it was an odd thing, but it was a very sort of therapeutic thing doing in the rehearsal side, kind of space. So yeah, it's been a sort of not a very dramatic part of time for me, and with regards to the creative stuff I'm meant to be working on. But it's because it's been very much, I'm into the routine of this is what I'm doing, rehearsing the shows, rehearsing the play, and also preparing for the tour and such. You know, it's not a case of there's no fucking around and finding out. I've done that bit. I'm now doing the thing that I found out and moving forward with it. So it's been wonderfully creative, but not massively taxing in a way like going, oh my God, I've got to do all these things. It's just, here's what I'm doing, now I'm working through them. So it's quite a short section this time. So yeah, so in summary, I've been rehearsing tracks. I've been playing with ideas for shows. I've been preparing for the tour to start, buying train tickets, organising places to stay. I did an emergency gig with Gaz, which was great. Did a house show in Portsmouth, which was a lot of fun, and had a really nice couple of breakfasts. Rehearsing for Call Me Mother, and also discovering my interest in fashion. That's probably going to affect maybe the stage shows, stage clothing I do. I might even come up with more costumes and things. Who the fuck knows? So yeah, it's very good in that creative sort of space. Right, so that's the end of part 1. I'm going to take a quick drink. I'll have a little look in the chat to see if I've missed anything, and then we'll have a little musical interlude. So I'm just going to see, because there's been quite a bit of messaging going on in the chat very quickly. I'm just going to keep checking. Yep, talking about brightness of bulbs, lots of bulbs, more talk about bulbs. Toasting with chocolate. Oh, someone's having some dark chocolate booze. I like that. Talk about the gigs, poltergeists, and various other things. Oh, and a mention about going to the village hall stuff we were talking about, the poltergeists and such. Village hall committees are very strange. They have lots of pointless rules for hirees, including the way that the chairs are stacked. Yes, I've seen that quite a few times, cupboards and such, without ever questioning why. It's like insisting on putting out chairs for a gig. Yeah, it's very odd. I've been to some village halls are very sort of like, oh cool, okay, we'll leave you guys to it. And then some places they have very anal rules and such. Exactly mean about grief and joy can coexist without invalidating or invading each other. Yes, no, that's true. Mayflower hasn't got Call Me Mother tickets on the website. That's where we're supposed to get. Is that where we're supposed to get tickets? It's meant to be at the MAST thing. I managed to find them, but they were quite crap at hiding their tickets things. I will have a look at that and find. It might be one of those things they're going to promote a bit later. I'll chase that up and find out where we can get tickets for Call My Mother. And if they're not announced on social media, because I've got a lot of things going on this week, I'll put it in next week's show. So thank you for reminding me about that. That was one of the things I need to look at. Okay, so let's have a little break. At this point, I've been improving. Originally, I was doing stupid adverts and such, and I actually thought this is a nice idea, a nice time to sort of play you some music. Because I am a musician, so I probably should actually play you some music. Now, if you can listen softly, you can hear me just placing. If you think you just heard the sound of someone putting a notebook up against a computer monitor, you'd be wrong, because that's not what I've done at all. So some of you, as in literally I think 2 people potentially in this chat have heard this song, because I played it at the said house show I mentioned. And this is a song that I decided to write as a piss take. Well, the story is in Tadley. Well, this is a song called the Treacle Miner's Song. Well, it's Treacle Miner's Son, and basically, I found this idea of the urban myth. The myth around the UK in the 1800s was that there were treacle mines around the country, and that people had convinced rich people that the poor people genuinely thought that's where the treacle came from. So I thought, let's have some fun with it and create a story about treacle mine disaster, based in Tadley, which is a place where there was one of these treacle mines. There was a story I tried to tell at the actually, yeah, before I play the song, I tried to tell the story about this at the house show, and one of the things that I found quite interesting is there used to be a hotel in Tadley called the Treacle Miner Hotel. I think it was the Treacle Miner's Arms, but it was changed because someone thought, oh, that makes them all sound stupid, we should rename it, and they called it the Broom Squire Hotel. Now, the thing is, this is one of those things where I'm sort of split between which I like more. Treacle mining, the Treacle Mine Arms is really good fun, but also Broom Squire is a really cool name because it's actually the forester's nickname for gypsies. But it wasn't it's one of the few nicknames that isn't actually disrespectful. It's so the Broom Squire was a nickname meaning that basically the guys that make the best brooms, because the gypsies in the New Forest around about the 1800s and early 1900s had an excellent business making homemade brooms, and they were the best guys to make them. Any kind of broom they could make them for you, can make them to order, they could drop them off for you and build them, and so they were known as broom squires because they were just that good at them. So all the brooms apparently in Hampshire at one point were made by the broom squires, so that was the one-stop shop for all your sweeping needs. And I thought it was a little fun thing to tell you. And someone was in the house show who was rather drunk and basically just then used this as an excuse to basically say how much they distrusted gypsies. And that was great when you're doing a house show, when you're trying to sort of go, that's brilliant, thanks for showing when you're drunk you use generalisations, basically saying what you think about gypsy people. Now this must be pointed out that it was not the hosts of the event or the people they invited. They were actually people that I invited along. So I do apologise to the booths for bringing along a friend that when drunk started going off on one about gypsies. The reason I'm telling you this and not sort of, you know, saying that or making excuses, no, he's being a dick. And one of my favourite things about this is that at the time Claire was filming it and putting it out on a live stream. So as a way of sort of not piling on people, but I did remind him the day afterwards, you do know you were being filmed when that was going on, and that was live streamed. So your lovely little rant about not liking a group of people based on the generalisations of experiences you've had is now on the internet, so have fun with that. So this song acts as a warning for those that judge people based on their accents or where they're from or who they are, and it's best not to insult people like that around me, not because I'm going to have a go at you, it's because generally it doesn't end well, because the context is always stupid, and also bad things happen to bad people, and if you're a good person being a twat, it will come back to bite you in the arse. This is the Treacle Miner's Son. Where the folks sing their song, the happy little village where I come from, a little place where the community's strong. So one day it all went wrong. Well, things weren't bad, but they weren't good. Black cloud came over the neighbourhood, 'cause there was no treacle left to find, and that will mean the death of the little treacle mine. I'm the son of a Tadley treacle miner, deep down in the underground. Oh, there's nothing finer. Oh, to be the son of a treacle miner, firstborn son of a treacle miner. But before little people could get the blues, my dad said, "Shut up, I'll tell you what we should do. Hurry up everyone, 'cause there's still time." And my dad got everyone digging in the treacle mine. The nanas, the kids, and the baker, and the guy that works in Ryman's selling staples. Come on everyone, it's now or never. We can get through this if we all work together. I'm the son of a Tadley treacle miner, deep down in the underground. Oh, there's nothing finer. Oh, to be the son of a treacle miner, socialist son of a treacle miner. Well, the problem is they dug too far, they dug too deep, and from the rocks strange treacle began to seep. But this was not the treacle that should be excavated, for this glowy shit was irradiated, like a real life drama from HBO. The irradiated treacle had nowhere to go. It dripped from the cracks and down the walls. Someone said, "Radioactive treacle, Dave, you've killed us all." of a deadly treacle miner. Deep, deep down in the underground, oh, there's nothing finer. To be the son of a treacle miner, a radioactive son of a treacle miner. As the treacle started bubbling, the caves around them started rumbling. If that wasn't enough to cause hypertension, they accidentally opened a gate to another dimension. As demons escaped, people started screaming. My dad said, "This is not what I expected to do this evening." He revved up his chainsaw and he used it well, and sent those demons straight back to hell. He's the son of this young treacle miner. Deep, deep down in the underground, oh, there's nothing finer. To be the son of a treacle miner, demon-killing son of a treacle miner. He swung to his left and his right and got covered in gore. But for every demon he killed came two more. Yet I asked him, "Dad, what should we do?" As he beat a demon to death, he turned to me. As he beat a demon to death with his shoe. "Well, son," he said, "there's only one thing for it. We'll have to take off and nuke the site for more of it." The son of a deadly treacle miner. Deep, deep down in the underground, oh, there's nothing finer. They only come out at night, mostly. To be the son of a treacle miner, dead son of a treacle miner. But I'm the son of a deadly treacle miner. Deep, deep down in the underground, oh, there's nothing finer. To be the son of a treacle miner, the firstborn son of a treacle miner. Fuck Thatcher. And there we go. Lovely little exclusive song for you lovely people. See, I've scared off 2 viewers already, but never mind. That is a preview of what's going to come out on the next album. Huzzah. Don't listen to the sound of the paper being folded up. That wasn't me getting the lyrics at all. Okay, my friends. Welcome to part 2 of tonight's stream. We've talked about what I'm meant to be doing, and let's talk about what I'm actually been doing. Okay, so before we get stuck in, let us begin. The British Rail Book Club, and I've managed to get us some music for this. So listen out. Here is there we go. If you can hear that in the background. So the British Rail Book Club started by my putting books that I read or listen to an audiobook whilst travelling around the country. Hence, Thomas the Tank Engine jazz style. So this week I have mostly been reading, or attempted to read, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne, which I found in a phone box. If you were listening to the Aubrey Storytime show yesterday, you'll be aware that I basically got this from a place that also had books and also escort cards in it, which is a nice juxtaposition of all kinds of different things of culture, showing that small villages are filled with culture. I've also been listening to the audiobook of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which people think of in the trans community as basically the forbidden text by the evil witch queen of Angmar, but I do like the soothing tones of Stephen Fry, and also I got it from the library, so you just don't get anything. If you would like to join in on the British Rail Book Club, simply when you're travelling around or picking up books in strange places, or just when you're reading and you want to join in, hashtag British Rail Book Club and see if I can find it, and then tell me what you're reading, what you've discovered, what strange books you'd like to recommend, or whether any of the things I found are any good and that you like. The other thing to do is if you find a copy of Dune in a second-hand bookshop or a charity shop or in a weird little exchange library, tell me where it is and I want to go and find it, because I've given myself the quest of locating the copy of Dune. Don't buy it, don't order it online for me or anything like that. That sort of defeats the object and that removes the fun. I'm trying to sort of find it for myself, because that's more fun that way, isn't it? Anyway, that was the British Rail Book Club. That's what I've been working on. If you've any books you've been reading, sorry, put it in the chat and we'll have a chat about it after the stream, if you'd like to join it with a conversation about books. And if you're listening on the podcast version, or in the listen again, or on the YouTube version, over on Aubrey Blakeledge on YouTube, if you follow on Twitch and come along live at the end of this broadcast, because your version is a highlights version, we have a long-winded conversation about all kinds of weird shit post-show on the stream. So if you want to join in with that, follow me on Twitch and come along every Tuesday, or on the last Monday of every month for Aubrey Story Time. Haha. Right. So next, a little part of the show that I'm going to call Dragon On. You see the pun? Dragon On? Because I have been working on the sock puppets, but not in the ways that you think. So this week we've got a new one. Who is in 3D, as you may have noticed, because I stuffed him. That's why we've got him like this. So this is, might need some help from Claire because I've forgotten his name. But as you may have noticed, there are tiny elephants on him because he is an elephant dragon. And he's got some little wings, which I sewed on, and fixed the googly eyes, and he now looks like a flying sausage. This is because, and the reason he's in 3D is because I have been going around and getting all the sock puppets and stuffing them, and then sewing extra bits on and double gluing the eyes, because I think this is the closest thing to something I'm going to do, and I'm going to create this mad little menagerie of sock puppets. And yes, I have got, that's it, Timothy Dragonay. That's it, Timothy Dragonay. That's Timothy. So some of the older dragons are looking marvellous, including Mog, if you remember, with the disgusting child's face. I've now made it look like a flayed face has been sewn onto the disemboweled body, because why not? And there was a sock puppet workshop at the house gig last Saturday. There's a sock puppet workshop at every gig that I do now. That's why I have a mountain of these. I have like 20 that I have to sort of start creating, and I'm having a great time. This is what I mean. I've now got a massive sewing addiction, because basically what I need to do is actually reinforce all the gluing, fix it down, stuff it, and then terrifying child face. And so yeah, I've also got, this is one of my favourite ones. This is the squid dragon. Let that fade out. So you've got this is a squid dragon, as you can see by the tendrils, his groovy little hair. Someone's basically used the sock in reverse, which I quite like, with the moustache. So he's a different kind of dragon, which I quite like. I can't remember the names, so what I'm going to have to do is when I fix them all up, I'm going to have a nice little picture of them all and get people to name them and tag them, and then I'm actually going to write down what they're called, because now it just looks, they look so much nicer when they're stuffed, and they look even more demented in a way. So I've got many of them. As we go along, I'm going to be showing some of the new ones that I'm working on. I've got so many over here to work. I've got about 15 of them to do. So as the gigs go forward, if you want to come along to a show and you want to make your own sock puppet dragon, feel free, and you can win a Blue Aubrey badge, like all of our make winners. And you can also, if you want to and you can't make it to a show, or you're too excited to wait until a show, feel free to make your own sock puppet dragon and send me some pictures. Send it to aubrey.blakeledge@gmail.com, or message me through my social medias, and I will show people what you've created. If you want to send me one, message and I will send you my address, because I'm not going to say it out on a live stream because that's just insane. That's how you get stalkers, and not in a good way. And yes, and I'll be happy to stuff possibly mount them on the wall, and then you'll get a blue Aubrey badge. I actually realised I probably should explain the context of why I have dragons, and why they're dragons specifically, is that they are the representation of a dragon myth that I tell on stage. I'll tell you a little bit of it, but basically it's a mysterious dragon where people don't know what the dragon looked like, and they didn't finish the myth off. So I wrote a song that tells the story of the dragon, the Christchurch dragon, and we get to decide what it looks like. And that's why we have all these different demented dragons. Long may it continue. Although I still have to probably work out what the fuck I'm going to do with them all. I don't know whether or not I could maybe sell them, but who the hell would want one of those things? They're terrifying, and not in a fun way. Right, okay then. So we've done our dragon on. Talking about the sewing and such, like I said, this has become part of my life now. So I've been adding more, and again, if you were in the post-show chat yesterday, I did mention a little bit more of these. So I've been repurposing old t-shirts and adding them to my tweed battle jacket, because of course it's me, so I'm not going to use a regular battle jacket with leather or denim. I've used tweed, as you can see. I love tweed. And basically because I've sort of moved on from liking t-shirts or band t-shirts, so I'm sort of reducing the amount of band t-shirts I have, but using the materials that I've saved to stuff the stocks, so I'm not using too much stuffing, and also using the labels and such to create these little bits, like the lineup from that's the lineup of Download 2010, which was my honeymoon, which I quite like the idea of that. So that's all the bands we got to see, and I keep forgetting that we saw Soundgarden, Tenacious D, and The Prodigy at that show. So it was a good night, and also some wonderful phrases from Brian Stone, and also a very apt thing from Grant Sharkey. You cannot change anyone by telling them their shit. And also something we need to be reminded, that bass players are better than Nazis. Just in case you forget. But that's also connected a little bit with something that I'm meant to be doing, which is developing stuff for the play, and we're meant to be creating our own costumes and such. So I've been getting ideas of weird things, and I might try and use the light bulbs, because I don't know, I might get a work jacket and then strap light bulbs to myself and get weird goggles and other such things, but that's for me to work out. So yeah, I mentioned it a little bit before. Death has been hanging around like a horrible smell, and since the last show another person died, so it's now up to 3, as in the last Fizzy Brain show. So I work in a care home, for those who don't know, beg your pardon if you haven't got the context of it. I work in a care home. It's a senior care home dealing with people, end of life care and dementia, and obviously death is part of it's born of the staff at our care home, obviously because of who we deal with, but we had an unprecedented week of shit where we lost 3 residents in about 8 days, and it was crap, and it knocked me for 6 on Friday. I come from a learning difficulties background, so I had lost more people in that week than I had in my entire career working with learning difficulties. So not me having learning difficulties, working with people with learning difficulties and disabilities. So it was a lot to process. So they gave me the day off. Let's say day off, I only was working 3 hours anyway, because it's a part-time job. But I had that time off, and I met up with some friends who went into the New Forest, Teddy and Tamara, who have been starting to join some of the live streams. I'm not sure if they're here tonight, but if they are, thank you again. So we went out to the New Forest, had a marvellous time doing some forest bathing. I don't know if you guys are aware of forest bathing. It's basically going for a walk in the forest and then actually deliberately using it as a mindfulness exercise. Because it's great just to wander through the forest and experience nature, but forest bathing is deliberately doing the things that sort of trigger off the different things in your brain to make them sort of relax even more. Because it's actually been psychologically and scientifically proven that going out into the woods is very positive for your mental health, but also physical health, due to the high volume of oxygen produced by trees and by plants, but also the fact that the natural environment is the place where we're designed to be as creatures. So we actually relax in them, and we're not meant to be in surrounded by concrete like massive lights and all such things all the time. So appearing in a more natural space connects with our inner. They used to use the phrase lizard brain, a thing that in psychology is not really sort of used anymore. Not in a case of, oh, people don't like the term. It's just it doesn't fit anymore. Science has moved on from it. It's basically an outdated term. But it's that sort of subconscious animalistic version of ourselves that are a little bit not happy to be in a concrete jungle, as it were. But when you go into the woods, there is a marked effect. And forest bathing is this idea of doing that, and sort of like a mindfulness exercise or a grounding exercise, you do things that in tune your brain to allow that woodland experience to sort of filter into you more. In short, we just went into the woods, talked bollocks, looked at trees, and just smelt the rain. It was fucking great, and I really enjoyed it, and helped me relax and helped me feel a lot better. And then this is when I get a phone call from Gaz Brookfield at 6:30 when we're having a lovely little dinner at a lovely little pub, where he basically was like, "Can you do this stand-in for me? So my support act has got a puncture and can't make it." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I think I can." I phoned a few people, got a lift in, headed over, did the show. Really, really good fun. And that, really shook out the sort of cobwebs of all of that death and helped me feel a lot better, because I was a bit worried about the house show of coming up, whether or not I'll be able to keep the energy going after experiencing all that fucking old multi-deaths. But doing the show in Hambledon really sort of prepared me for that, and just to go out and just have a good time, which is good. So it felt good about it. And it was just a really nice experience. Although, funny enough, when we were in the pub, little quick story about that. When we were in the pub having a few drinkers, we were just sat down with me, Ted, and Tamara, and their fur baby, Thorin, the beagle, who is as naughty as a beagle could be. He's a little prick. But most beagles are, because they're very intelligent and they're driven by food, so they can be little wankers. And we just sat down, and this baked potato of a man turned up and says, at first it's like, "Have you guys found a phone?" And immediately, well, what's actually happened is that I just returned from the other side of the pub, because I've just gone for a wander and coming back, to look at the books, because they had a big pile of books in the corner. And as I was coming back, the guys were looking around under the tables, because this guy had gone, "Have you seen the phones?" The guys had a good look and they couldn't find anything. And said, "Was there a phone on the table when you arrived?" Like, no. Well, number one, we would have handed it into the bar. Number two, no, we would have spotted it. It was just a couple of plates and some glasses. And so that's when I sit down with the guys, and he says, and then he says this really strange thing when he walks off and then comes back. "I just want you to know, not being rude, but there's a lot of stuff on that phone." We're like, "Yeah, we still haven't seen it." And this is one of those points when the more you thought about it, the stupider that phrase got. He looks at this, "I don't want to be rude, but I hate people who say that. It's fucking irritating. I don't mean to be funny. Don't mean to be rude." It's just, and then clearly something rude and funny is going to come out of their fucking mouths like a waterfall of hypocritical bullshit. But it was the fact is, I don't mean to be funny, but there's a lot of stuff on that phone. Like what? Fucking OnlyFans membership? What's on there? The same as everyone's phones? Probably that your bank details, a load of photographs, some videos, contacts, your subscription to your bank, all that sort of stuff, the stuff that everyone has on their fucking phones. You're describing it to me like I've never seen a fucking phone before. And number two, that sort of, there's a lot of stuff on it. And if you think that we're nicking it because you're inferring that we've nicked it, or that you suspect that we've nicked it, and you think that what's going to make us go, "You know what, on second thoughts, maybe we won't steal this phone," is you reminding us that there is things of value to you on this phone, presumably the very thing that we're going to try and steal. So it was just sort of, wow, what a dickhead. I mean, what was really funny is that I felt outraged about being accused of stealing stuff, considering I'd literally just been around the pub to the other side to see if I could steal any books. I wasn't able to, they were all shit, but I would have stolen them. So if I had one, I would have had a stolen book in my hand. And, I steal books from pubs. I don't steal phones, mainly because people don't leave them around. Yeah. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. Feel a bit late. Yeah, we're just sort of cracking on part 2 at the moment. So just got a message from someone saying, I feel like I'm late to the party in the chat for those of you who are listening on the audio version. But you are here, which is great. You haven't missed you might be missing a lot of the show, but don't worry, there is still the post-show bullshit talk, which is as entertaining as the main show, in my opinion, or for me anyway. So stick around, the show's got better because you're here. Now, so we talked about those forest walks, about going to the pub. There was a little idea that, again, I sort of shared a little bit with the post-Aubrey Storytime show yesterday, which is something that a couple of friends and I were talking about whilst doing our little forest walk. Is one thing I've always loved is the idea of being a tour guide and telling people about monuments, about old historical buildings, and I thought maybe I could do something like this as a mini tour in the summer when I haven't got some dates on. And then it came up with this idea that basically what I'm going to do is later in the month I'm going to put up a couple of polls and message people and contact everyone and say what I want to do is I want to get a list of about 5 cities, and in the city centre I'm going to turn up with a guitar and an umbrella and a sign, and you can pay whatever you want to donate to, like a PayPal account, and join me on a tour. And I will go around telling you true stories of your local area or an area you want to visit, and also make up a load of bullshit. And you can play the game of whether I'm telling the truth or whether I'm lying. And also playing some of my songs as well while doing it. So it's sort of a cross between a gig, a little walk, and a learning experience. I could be a history teacher and a musician and a liar at the same time. And or touring actual tours. I love the idea of that. That would be quite good fun. Very, very good. And I just sort of messaged, linked in the two together, which was come to the Georgian Dragon in Salisbury, a pub that I've never been to, and I keep meaning to, I'm never going to, where book steal is actively encouraged by the owners, and a lot of dragons in the eaves, including crocheted ones. But do they have sock puppet dragons? I think not. But yes, I will be going there soon enough because I am playing in Salisbury in March, actually. Yeah, later in March. But more about that later on. Well, in another show, because I've got plenty of listings to talk about. So yeah, if you're interested in me hosting a walking tour while playing music and bullshitting people in a town or city nearby you with lots of historical buildings, send me some ideas of if there's some local area, like something that's local to you or something you don't mind travelling to. Like one of the ideas I was thinking is going right up the country, going to Edinburgh. So doing one in Edinburgh, maybe one in York, in places like Sheffield, Cardiff, possibly. I was going to finish in Southampton. So it's basically cities with interesting stuff going on. I thought about doing Canterbury, but that doesn't mean going round and like that and stuff. I could do London, but I'm not particularly fussed because there's enough people doing that and it's massive and it's going to be expensive and silly. So maybe we just do the interesting places around it. Just do across the whole of Dartmoor, like Eric was saying. Just do a tour of tours. Anyway, it's food for thought in the future, the idea of me doing a guided tour, bullshitting my way around a city centre and playing guitar. See what happens. It's sort of busking, but I don't stop. So drive-by busking, or strolling a strawberry, who knows. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that, and if you have any ideas, send them across, and we'll go from there. Again, that's sort of like an idea that I've been putting in my head that actually is connected to my music. So at this point, it's just a distraction. But if it works, I'll add it to the first part of the show where it's something I'm working on. And this is why I don't mind being led down rabbit holes with my brain, because sometimes these ideas end up being good enough for me to actually make as part of my career sort of thing. Actually, yeah, Salisbury is an interesting place, actually, because there's lots of really cool bits and pieces. Although, you know, they do have famously a massive cathedral, but the bastards didn't want me to be there as part of their marketing team, so fuck them and the cathedral they rode in on. But yeah, it could be fun to do one about Salisbury, and I could make a lot of shit up about the cathedral. In fact, if your city has a cathedral in it, let me know, because I'd be very excited to do some shows in some places with cathedrals that I have none. Or maybe that's it. I mean, I'm just literally thinking it on top of my head now, because of those of you who may or may not know, I do my little side quest of collecting cathedrals. For those of you, I've actually started collecting patches of cathedrals for the inside of my battle jacket when I go and visit them. So maybe I just do a list of the cathedrals I haven't done, and do a tour there, and do the tour of the cathedrals. Because surely if you've got a cathedral in your town, you're going to have interesting stuff going around the town as well. I can go in the cathedral, do my thing, come out, do a little tour around the city. Bang, maybe it's that. Anyway, moving on from that idea. One thing that Twitch has been saying to me quite a lot is that I can now become a Twitch affiliate, which basically means that there will be revenue sent towards me if they put like shitty little adverts in every now and then. So potentially the stream could become more shiny. You know, yes, there might be an advert when you first log in and then I get that money, but also there's things where you can actually send me bits and pieces that improve how much revenue and stuff I get, and stickers and little emotions and things like that, and you can send subscriptions if you use Amazon and all this sort of bollocks. So apparently now that I've got 50 followers and I regularly have over 10 people watching my streams at a time, I just need to stream a few more times a month and then I get affiliate status, which is sort of great. It's starting to build. We are consistently getting bigger. You lovely people are becoming this audience. So yeah, that's really exciting. And again, another sort of thing that at the moment is just sort of weird side questy stuff, but could potentially be something that's actually useful for the career and moving forward. So yeah, it's there's lots of things brewing at the moment, as always, which is good. Lots of fun silliness. And also, yes, I think I mentioned before, I've been with the model selling. I finally sold the last of the models that I was planning to sell from my old Warhammer collection on eBay, and I immediately used some of that money to buy other models. So yeah, that's good. Classic Warhammer nerd problems. So I've now done an embargo where I'm not allowed to buy any more models until I've painted the models I already have, but every single person that's ever played Warhammer has said that, oh pardon me, has said that at some point. So yeah, but maybe that might be actually how I do an extra couple of streams, because this is again linking into the Twitch affiliate thing. I'm going to sort out a double camera view for future, not for these talks because I don't really need it. But what I'm going to do is film me either painting things or sewing things, because that might be a little, it might be a little fun kind of thing to just put on late at night. This will be stuff I won't bother posting it on social media. I'll just put it on Twitch and just say I'm going to be on here for a couple of hours making shit, keep me company, talk bollocks as I sew stuff, as I paint models or do other such shite. Because why not? If I'm going to be doing it, I'm going to be sat here listening to music and such, and it'll be nice to have some company. Or it could be some weird ASMR stuff that you might hear, having me going fuck, and then swearing a lot whilst trying to make stuff. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, and that means obviously if you're on Twitch, give me a follow, and then we can get 51 and keep going from there. Anyway, yes. So yeah, I've been doing it quite a lot. So what I've meant to be, as a summary of what's been going on so far, let's have a look. So I'm meant to be rehearsing songs, yes I'm doing that. Preparing for the tour, yes I'm doing that. Booked all my train tickets, literally got them sorted out just before I started talking. I did an emergency Gaz gig, which was great. I've been doing house shows, rehearsing for Call Me Mother, which I need to, thanks to the reminder of the chat, I need to sort out where the tickets are available from and announce that soon enough, which I will do. I've been developing a strange interest in fashion and making my own costumes, so my stage shows I may end up making weird cloaks. I've got I was literally thinking, one thing I forgot to mention, I got given someone's graduation robes for costuming, and it's one of those things that I quite like them as they are, because I can dress as a weird Hogwarts teacher, or I can use it to make a really fucking weird cape and go to make some weird shit with it. But it's one of those things that I'm not sure what to do with it, because it's sort of like, it's a really cool thing to play with, but if I do something with it, I can only use it once. I just wish I had like 5 cloaks so I could just fuck around and see what happens. But anyway, yes, so there's that, which has been interesting. We had a little musical interlude. I hope you like it. Do let me know in the chat in a minute when we have our post-show chat whether you think it's a big pile of shit, or whether it's a good song, or whether I could fiddle with it, or whatever. So that's what I have been meant to be working on, what I've actually been working on. More book clubs and such like that, listening to audiobooks. I've been sewing sock puppets. I've been sewing patches. I've been thinking about death, not mine, other people's. That makes it sound like I'm going to go killing people. Not killing people, it's just that people have died in the care home that I work in. Not because of me. There's a lot of, I'm explaining myself a lot, but you know what I mean. I've been doing forest bathing, I've been having walks, I've been enjoying myself, I've been hanging with my friends and having a jolly old time. And trying to become a Twitch affiliate and all that sort of stuff. So it's been a very productive week. And lots of interesting stuff. And it's only February. I mean, and also, I meant to say, dear God, oh, pardon my yawning, sorry everyone. How is it nearly March? Next week's fucking March. How weird is that? I mean, seriously, when did that fucking turn up? We're into month 3 of this fucking year. What the fuck? Anyway, so yeah, that's what's been going on. So thank you very much for joining me this evening, you lovely people. If you're going to hang around, I hope you do, for a little post-show chat where we'll talk absolute bollocks. I'll get slightly squiffy, and I'll set up all the bits and pieces to listen again to the show. Just to let you guys know, if you were listening to the Aubrey story time, due to it cutting out halfway through the stream because my phone ran out of power, I'm editing the videos together so that the version on YouTube, which you'll be able to listen to again, and on Patreon as well, will be one video. So there's 2 on Twitch you can listen to again, or you can have 1 on YouTube and such. It'll all be together, and I'll be uploading that at the same time that I upload this video onto YouTube for your viewing pleasure. And if you want to keep an eye on that or anything else, go on to the Patreon. So again, a reminder of what's coming up in the next few weeks. All tickets for my shows that I'm organising at ticketsource.co.uk/awkward strawberry, or going through my various socials. You'll be able to find them there. So tomorrow I'm hosting on the 18th, which is tomorrow. I'm hosting a pub quiz at the Dell in Southampton. And 27th of February, I'm at the Tuppenny in Swindon. On the 28th, I'm in the Pit in Newstead. And just to reiterate again that Madam Misfit won't be able to join us because she is sadly unwell. Please do go and pass on all of your love to her. The 1st of March, I'm at the Two Bridges in London. The 19th of March is the performance of Call Me Mother at the MAST Theatre in Southampton. And the 3rd of April is Awkward Strawberry number 4, the showcase show that I put on in Southampton every month, showcasing underground music to an audience that are actually, quite frankly, looking forward to having a smashing old time. So yeah, there's lots of stuff going on. The next Aubrey Story time stream is Monday the 31st of March, which I will be in Scotland for, or hopefully I'll be back in England at that point. I should be back in England. I may be very tired, but I will do a story time for you. Every Tuesday at 9 PM is Fizzy Brain, like this stream will be again. Like I've been doing, telling you what I've actually been doing rather than what I'm meant to be working on. You can find me on all the social medias: Blue Sky, Threads, Faceache, Instagram. I've sort of put some stuff on Pixelate, but no one seems to give a shit about it, so it's probably going to die. Bandcamp, Spotify, YouTube, where I'm posting this video very soon. Or you could join me on Patreon for just, there's a free tier where you can have updates of what I'm doing, my listings and other such things, or for £3 a month, and listening to a downloadable version of this for you to check out in your own time, or pay £3 a month for my pre-release of my music when it comes out, special edition demos, tracks that are exclusive to Patreon, merch when it comes out as well, and Fizzy Brain and downloads of this podcast, like I said, for all of your lovely little things. And of course, follow me on Twitch for all the post-stream chats. So that's all that sort of stuff. Lots of wonderful things going on in the coming months, so I'm all very excited, and I hope you guys are too. Just going to do a quick check of the chat before we head off. So lots of people talking about Salisbury, the Tour of Tours, and other such things. Have you come across speed paints? Talking about Twitch affiliates and such like that. Even finish your painting. Even finish your painting an actual probability. That's true, I've heard about that. Sometimes do make a song session with what used to be the Art House at Southampton on a Thursday afternoon. Yes, the Art House has done their sort of weird thingamajig. I'm not sure what's going on with there, but yes. And April is going to be frenetic. Yes, very frenetic. April's going to be mental, and it's going to be great. And also, I like this. January took 4 years. February shot past so fast. Yes, it did. I'm glad I'm not the only one who experienced that. I just thought that was me being self-employed that made January, the 10,000 days, 10,000 years of January, and about 5 minutes of February. So, with everyone's birthday in it, I don't know, I just kept, it seemed like 1 million people had their birthday in February, more than any other month. Anyway, but then again, it's when the month of my birthday, so I guess it's like when you buy a red car and you see everyone else's red car all of a sudden. Anyway, enough of that sort of bullshit. It's time for me to say farewell. Like I said, if you want to join us on Twitch, if you're listening to this or watching this on catch up or listening to the podcast version, come along to Twitch, because then you can have a lovely conversation with a bunch of nutters about all kinds of madness, which I'm really looking forward to. So, for those listening to you on the catch up and on the YouTubes and other such things, thank you very much for joining me. If you have a drink in your hand, raise it up and put it in your face. Have a wonderful evening.